Imagine living in the richest city in the world, gold everywhere, opportunity everywhere, and still, your purse is empty. Now stop, because that city isn't ancient Babylon. It's your life. Money moves around you all day, through offices, through screens, through other people. It even moves through you. A paycheck arrives, you breathe, then it's gone. Rent, bills, food, subscriptions. Money comes in, money goes out, and no matter how hard you work, it never stays. You wake up early, you stay busy, you do what responsible people do. Yet a quiet question follows you. Why am I always starting over? Is it bad luck? Or did no one ever explain how money actually works? Because here's the truth. The world doesn't reward effort. It rewards understanding. When you don't know the rules, money doesn't disappear. It passes through you. Thousands of years ago, people lived this same cycle. Different tools, same struggle. The few who escaped it didn't work harder. They learned the rules that decide who stays broke and who doesn't. If this feels familiar, it's because this isn't the past. It's your pattern. Money is something everyone deals with, yet few truly understand. We're taught how to earn it, how to spend it, but rarely how to keep it. That's why so many people feel stuck. Not lazy, just untrained. In this video, you'll start seeing what most people miss. Why money flows in and out. Why effort alone doesn't change that. Why some people feel calm about money. This isn't about shortcuts or hustle. It's about simple rules that have guided money for thousands of years and still shape paychecks, debt, and security today. It begins with two ordinary men standing in the streets of Babylon, wondering why gold never stayed in their hands. Babylon was the richest city of the ancient world, and yet its people faced the same fears we do, until a few noticed something different. Wealth wasn't random. It followed rules. These ideas were later captured by George S. Clason in The Richest Man in Babylon. But this isn't just a book, it's a mirror. And as this story unfolds, you'll see how one man, Akkad, once poor like everyone else, became the richest man in Babylon, not by chance, but by learning and living the laws of money. Rule number 1, the man who desired gold. Two ordinary men stood in the streets of Babylon. They were skilled and hardworking, yet nothing they earned ever turned into progress. They weren't struggling to survive. They were struggling to move forward. And what troubled them most was comparison. They watched people with the same opportunities build comfort, security, freedom. And that led them to a single realization. Effort wasn't the problem. So instead of blaming fate, they did something most people never do. They asked to learn. They went to the man known for his wisdom with gold, a man who had once been poor himself. And when they asked how wealth begins, they expected a clever trick. Instead, they heard a rule so simple it felt easy to ignore. He told them that wealth begins the moment a person decides they are worth paying first, not later, not when life becomes easier, first, because money that arrives without intention leaves without resistance. The wealthy man explained that most people live their entire lives as pass-throughs for money. They earn, they spend, they repeat. But the moment someone claims even a small part of what they earn, they stop being a worker only and start becoming a builder. That was the first rule. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. Not to show, not to risk, just to keep. Small in amount, large in meaning. Because this rule isn't about money, it's about self-respect. The decision to say, I will not consume everything I create. And once that decision is made, wealth finally has a place to begin. Rule number 1. Takeaway. You don't build wealth by working harder. You build it by claiming ownership of your effort. Money stays only where it is intentionally kept. What would change if you treated your income as something to build with, not just survive on? Rule number 2. The richest man in Babylon. Once people heard Akkad speak, they were confused. Not because his ideas were complex, but because they were simple. Too simple. He didn't describe himself as smarter, or luckier, or more talented than anyone else. He said something far more unsettling. He said he was ordinary. Same city, same opportunities, same struggles. The difference wasn't who he was, it was what he did once money entered his hands. While others spent first and hoped later, Akkad reversed the order. He treated money like a servant, not a reward. Every coin had a purpose. Every decision had a direction. And this is where most people misunderstand wealth. They believe money changes after you have more of it. Arkad understood something earlier. Money changes when you do. Keeping a portion was only the beginning. What mattered next was control, because money that sits without purpose eventually disappears. It leaks into comfort, into impulse, into convenience. So Arkad gave his gold a task. He sent it out to work, carefully, patiently, under guidance, not chasing fast gains, not gambling on promises. He learned that money grows best when it is protected from both fear and greed. This was the second rule, quieter than the first, but just as important. Money must be made to earn more money, not recklessly, not quickly, but deliberately. Because idle money fades and directed money multiplies. Arkad didn't build wealth by doing everything himself. He built it by allowing money to do what humans cannot, work continuously. Rule number 2, takeaway. Saving creates stability, but growth creates freedom. Money that is never given purpose will slowly lose its power. Where in your life is money being kept, but not being guided? Rule number 3, 7 cures for a lean purse. Once people understood that money must be kept and put to work, a deeper problem became obvious. Even when income increased, many purses stayed thin, not because people earned too little, but because money leaked away unnoticed, quietly, daily. So the lesson shifted from wealth to control. The first cure was awareness. Most spending doesn't feel dangerous. It feels small, justified, earned. But money lost to careless habit has the same effect as money never earned. The cure wasn't deprivation. It was clarity. Knowing the difference between what improves your life and what merely consumes it. The next cure was planning. Money behaves very differently when it's told where to go before it arrives. Without a plan, money follows impulse. With a plan, it follows purpose. Another cure was growth, but slow, careful growth. Not chasing opportunity, but choosing it wisely. Because money grows best when guided by experience, not excitement. There was also a warning against advice from those who profit from your risk, against deals that promise speed instead of stability. Protection mattered. So did preparation. Saving not just for today, but for the years when work becomes harder and choices matter more. And finally, there was one cure people often ignored: improving the ability to earn. Because the strongest source of wealth is not money itself, it's skill. Skill compounds. Judgment improves. Income follows. Together, these cures did something powerful. They stopped money from leaking and turned it into a system. Rule number 3, takeaway. Money problems are rarely dramatic. They are habitual. Wealth grows when spending is conscious, planning is consistent, and earning ability keeps expanding. Which habit in your life quietly drains money, not because you need it, but because you never questioned it? Rule number 4, meet the goddess of good luck. Many people wait for the perfect moment. They wait for opportunity to knock. They wait for a windfall. They wait for luck. And yet, luck rarely arrives for the passive. The truth is simple. Good fortune favors the prepared mind. Those who succeed aren't smarter or stronger or more talented. They notice chance and act. Even small steps make a difference. A trade negotiated, a skill learned, a coin wisely invested. These actions attract opportunity. They bring the goddess of luck closer. But there's a catch. Luck will not reward the hesitant. It will not favor the fearful. It flees the doubtful and impatient. Stories from Babylon illustrate this again and again. Merchants who waited for perfect markets watched competitors profit instead. Builders who delayed saving until the right moment saw their chance vanish. Even a modest investment placed thoughtfully and early often outperforms a late, risky gamble. The lesson is clear. Luck is not magic. It's preparedness meeting action. It is the alignment of effort, timing, and wisdom. Rule number 4, takeaway. You don't wait for opportunity. You create it. By learning, acting, and planning ahead, luck favors those who are ready, not those who wish. Where in your life are you waiting for the perfect moment instead of making a move today? Rule number 5, the 5 laws of gold. Once you begin saving, once money finally starts to grow, a new fear quietly appears. The fear of losing it. Because money doesn't disappear only through waste. It disappears through mistakes, small ones, confident ones, well-intentioned ones. This is where many people stumble. You start believing that growth means speed, that confidence means risk, that more courage means better results. But money doesn't respond well to force. It responds to understanding. The first truth is simple. Money grows best when it's allowed to work patiently. Slow progress compounds. Rushed decisions collapse. Then comes the temptation, an opportunity that sounds easy, a promise that feels exciting, a return that seems guaranteed. This is where most losses begin. Not from bad luck, but from trusting what you don't understand. Money has a strange behavior. It avoids confusion. When decisions are made in excitement, judgment fades. That's why seeking guidance matters. Not opinions, not noise, but advice from people who have already walked the path and survived their mistakes. Another hard lesson follows. Money doesn't stay with those who hand it over blindly. If you don't understand where your money is going, you don't truly control it. And control matters more than confidence. The final truth is the hardest. Money shrinks when it's pushed to grow unnaturally. Schemes, shortcuts, desperation, they all create pressure, and pressure causes mistakes. Wealth isn't built by forcing outcomes. It's built by protecting progress. Rule 5 takeaway. Growing money is important. Protecting money is essential. Wealth stays with those who value patience over excitement and understanding over hope. Where in your life are you trusting money to something you don't fully understand, just because it sounds promising? Rule number 6, the gold lender of Babylon. Once you have money, people notice, not loudly, not immediately, but quietly. Requests begin to appear. A friend with a plan, a relative with a need, someone promising they'll pay you back soon. And this is where money tests judgment, because lending feels generous, it feels supportive, it feels right. But generosity without wisdom often turns into regret. The lesson here isn't to be selfish, it's to be careful. Money given without protection is rarely returned with gratitude. You may lose the money, you may lose the relationship, sometimes you lose both. The truth is uncomfortable. Most people don't fail to repay loans because they are dishonest. They fail because they were never capable of repaying in the first place. And lending to someone who cannot return the money doesn't help them. It weakens you. This rule teaches a quiet boundary. Help when you can afford to lose. Lend only when there is clarity. If money must be returned, there must be a clear plan. Not hope, not intention, structure. Because money loaned without terms creates confusion, and confusion always leads to conflict. The wise approach is simple. Protect your future while respecting others. That balance is what keeps money and peace intact. Rule 6 takeaway. Lending money is not about kindness alone. It's about discernment. Only risk what you can afford to lose, and never confuse generosity with obligation. Have you ever said yes to lending money when your instincts were telling you no? Rule number 7. The walls of Babylon. There was a reason Babylon endured while other cities fell. It wasn't just wealth, it was protection. Strong walls didn't make Babylon rich, they kept it rich. And the same principle applies to your life. Earning money is one challenge. Keeping money is another. But protecting what you've built, that's what allows wealth to last. Many people build without safeguards. They save, they grow, they plan, but they leave themselves exposed to emergencies, to illness, to sudden change. And when life hits, money drains fast. This rule isn't about fear. It's about foresight. Protecting yourself from what you can't predict is part of being responsible with money. Babylon's walls weren't built during attack. They were built before danger arrived. In the same way, protection must come first, not after loss. This means preparing for setbacks, setting aside reserves, shielding progress from disaster. Because money that took years to build can vanish in weeks without protection. Security creates freedom. When your foundation is strong, you make better decisions, calmer decisions, long-term decisions, and wealth finally has room to grow. Rule 7, takeaway. Protection is not pessimism, it's wisdom. Wealth lasts only when it is defended against the unexpected. If life surprised you tomorrow, would what you've built be protected or exposed? Rule number 8, the camel trader of Babylon. Not every lesson comes from success. Some come from loss. This rule is about a man who believed he was ready and learned the hard way that confidence without understanding is expensive. He saw an opportunity. It looked promising. Others were making money from it. So he acted quickly. No patience, no guidance, no preparation, and for a moment it felt right, until it didn't. The profit he imagined never arrived. Instead, his money slowly disappeared. not because the idea was evil, but because he didn't yet have the skill to manage it. This lesson cuts deep because it's familiar. Most losses don't happen from recklessness. They happen from premature action, from stepping into things before we're ready. The story teaches a simple truth. Failure is not proof that you're incapable. It's proof that you tried before you understood. But here's the shift. Instead of quitting, the man reflected. He studied where he went wrong. He learned how markets actually work. He built judgment before trying again, and only then did his efforts succeed. Money rewards learning, not ego. Loss becomes valuable only when it becomes instruction. Rule 8 takeaway. Mistakes don't destroy wealth. Ignoring them does. Progress comes when you treat loss as education, not punishment. Where in your life did you move too quickly? And what did it teach you that you haven't fully accepted yet? Rule number 9. The clay tablets from Babylon. Some lessons are learned once and forgotten. Others are written down so they can't be ignored. This rule comes from a simple idea. Wisdom fades when it isn't recorded. The story speaks of lessons etched into clay, not because paper was rare, but because memory is unreliable. When money improves, discipline weakens. When stress fades, habits loosen. And slowly, people return to old patterns. The clay tablets weren't about wealth. They were about remembrance, a reminder of mistakes made, rules learned the hard way, principles worth returning to when temptation appears. Because progress isn't lost in one moment. It erodes quietly when rules are forgotten. This lesson is especially personal. You can understand money. You can even build it. But if you don't revisit your principles, old habits resurface. Spending grows careless. Risk feels easier. Patience fades. Writing things down, rules, goals, boundaries, creates accountability. It forces reflection. It slows impulse. And it turns learning into something permanent. Rule 9 takeaway. Wisdom that isn't remembered eventually disappears. Wealth lasts when principles are recorded, revisited, and lived by consistently. What lesson have you already learned about money but stopped practicing once things felt easier? Rule number 10. The luckiest man in Babylon. At the end of every journey, there's a moment of honesty. Not about money, but about life. This rule isn't about gold earned or lost. It's about how a life is lived. The story reminds us that fortune doesn't always look like wealth. Sometimes it looks like purpose, like contribution, like peace. The luckiest man wasn't the one with the largest fortune. He was the one who used what he had to create value beyond himself. He worked with pride. He shared knowledge freely. He gave where it mattered. And in doing so, he gained something money alone can't buy: respect, fulfillment, and inner calm. This rule quietly reframes everything. Money is a tool, not a measure of worth. It can build security. It can create opportunity. But its highest value is how it supports a meaningful life. Those who understand this don't chase wealth endlessly. They use it wisely, share it thoughtfully, and live without fear. Because true luck isn't found in accumulation. It's found in alignment between effort, values, and purpose. Rule 10 takeaway. The goal of wealth isn't excess. It's freedom with integrity. Money serves you best when it supports the life you respect. If money stopped being the goal, what kind of life would you start building instead? Babylon rose through discipline and fell when discipline faded. Not from lack of wealth, but from forgetting the rules that created it. That cycle still repeats. We don't lose money suddenly. We drift away from the principles that once kept us steady. Listening is good, but action is better. As we wrap up, here are the 3 most actionable ideas. 1. Pay yourself first. Automatically, before money leaves your account, decide what stays. Automation removes emotion. 2. Protect what you build. Emergency funds, boundaries, clarity. Protection is not optional, it's foundational. 3. Learn before you risk. If you don't understand it, don't invest in it. Curiosity first, action second. Which idea resonated most with you? Drop it in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click right to dive into money, wealth, and life strategy. Click left to explore mental clarity and self-mastery. Choose your next step. See you in the next video.